So which burns more fat? Running on a VR treadmill or punching targets in body combat XR? Over the past few weeks, I've put the Cat VR C2 Enhanced Treadmill to the test, playing different games and measuring my heart rate. So in this video, I'm going to show you which method is best for fat loss and if a VR treadmill belongs in your fitness routine. Cat VR just gifted me this VR treadmill, and it has been an interesting experience. A VR treadmill allows you to move through a virtual reality more naturally by actually walking. Speed and direction of your walking or running is tied into your actual physical movement, which make it an excellent way to stay active while playing VR games, at least in theory. So Cat VR is compatible with Steam and PC VR games. It's also compatible with MetaQuest as a standalone, but you need a Nexus adapter for the Cat for that to work. It takes a bit of time to find your ideal setting to comfortably walk and run on the treadmill. You can play around with the friction on the special shoes that you have to wear and in the software itself. I have to admit that I could have spent some more time here, but honestly, I just don't have the patience. The next step was to find a game that could give me a good workout so that I could compare using the VR treadmill with not using a VR treadmill, and of course, other VR fitness games. To make it fair, I had to pick a game that had a lot of forward movement, but also a lot of upper body action. One of my favorite sweat-breaking battle games, Until You Fall, was the first choice, but I quickly ran into an issue. Because the game won't let you go faster than walking speed, it doesn't matter if you're sprinting on the treadmill. The few and slow steps taken between altercations aren't really enough to make a big difference in using a VR treadmill. So I needed a game with more speed. Arizona Sunshine 2 Horde mode was my next test. This went a lot better, and running back and forth, trying to get away from the zombies while also moving and shooting them was a lot of fun. But again, there was another issue. So even if I ran over to a corner to fight zombies or sprinted away from those that came after me, the arena is so small that it doesn't really push my heart rate. So I needed a bigger arena. This is when I jumped into Population 1. I'm still a complete noob at this game, so I went easy on myself and stuck to the bot lobbies, meaning I didn't have to play against actual people. With shorter games with multiple objectives, I spend a lot of time running or even sprinting, either running away from enemies or running towards the circle. Get back here, you nerd! After 2 rounds, I had finally broken a sweat while also finding a use case for the treadmill that I really enjoy. I just broke a sweat playing Population 1 bot mode. I was not anticipating that. But I also had to stop playing because of yet another problem I encountered. So a VR treadmill isn't actually a treadmill at all. If it was, this surface would be spinning when you're walking on it. Instead, it's made out of a slippery surface and these special shoes to wear when you are on it. And these shoes signal to the game which direction and how fast you're moving. Just like a mouse running across a mouse pad. The shoes also have tons of different attachments that you can put under, and it determines how easily they will slide on the surface. I started by making my shoes as slippery as possible because it made running feel easier. But after playing Population 1, I adjusted them to have more friction so that it would be easier to stop and change direction. I still find that the treadmill rotates a bit too easily, and unfortunately, there's not really a setting or a way to change that. I don't think it's supposed to do that. Stay, treadmill. But this isn't the main reason I had to get off the VR treadmill. With almost every game that I have tried in the last 2 weeks, I've had to step off after about 20 minutes because of motion sickness. And you'd think that running on a VR treadmill would make motion sickness feel better, like that you don't get it as much just because the movements are more realistic. But I just found that the delay from the trackers into the software, the difficulty in changing direction, and then the acceleration of movement isn't matching like my real life experience. And these things just always make me really sick when I play VR. So this is where spending more time with the cat software settings could be really helpful, as there are sliders that let you adjust movement accuracy, speed, acceleration, and you can go into advanced settings for even more control. It would just require that you spend a lot of time with the software and testing it out in game and find what works for you. Okay, so now that we've taken all of these things into consideration, how efficient is a VR treadmill when it comes to fat loss? So because the VR treadmill is used with games with forward motion, it doesn't really make any sense using it with traditional VR fitness games. I would love to see a fitness game being developed specifically for one of these treadmills. And although the Cat VR comes with its own set of games, none of them are specifically designed for working out. The only game that I could think of that would be perfect for this is Shardfall Fit Quest. Because most of that game consists of running, and usually you're running in place through the environment. So honestly, a VR treadmill might work perfect for that game. And Cat VR does claim that their treadmill is compatible with any game with forward motion. But FitQuest Shardfall is only available on Meta Quest, and since I didn't have the Nexus adapter, I haven't been able to test it. So if I were to look at the game that got my heart rate up the most, Population 1, I still got nowhere near the range that I'm used to from other traditional VR fitness games like FitXR, Body Combat XR, Supernatural, FunFitland, so on and so on. But the point of this test in this video is to look at what makes you burn the most fat, not necessarily what makes you work the hardest. And if that sounds confusing to you, let me just break it down really quick. Your body has two energy systems, fat and glucose, or sugar. Think of glucose as cash. It's quick and easy to spend, but how much you have access to is limited. Fat is your savings. Slower to access, but hopefully you'll have more of it. And the main predictor of which of those two energy systems your body will use during an activity is the intensity level or your heart rate. High intensity games burn more glucose, burn cash, while longer, less intense sessions tap into your fat stores. This type of fat burning is also known as type 2 cardio. But what does that mean for you? Traditional VR fitness games are great at getting your heart rate up, but they often put you in an intensity range which is above zone 2, meaning you're no longer burning fat for fuel. Now, this is by no means a bad thing. But if you really want to focus on losing fat, then you should try and spend as much time in zone 2 as absolutely possible. Personally, I really enjoyed using my Cat VR for arena battle games like Born, Metal Hellsinger VR, and Arizona Sunshine 2 Horde mode. And I also found it really immersive when playing story-driven games such as Metro Awakening. Get back! Get back! So then, to answer the question of whether a VR treadmill can burn more fat than a traditional VR fitness game, know that using a VR treadmill might very likely burn more fat than games such as Body Combat XR, because it's more likely to keep you in that fat-burning zone 2 range, while VR fitness games are generally designed to push you beyond that. So if you're someone who enjoys traditional gaming, not just fitness gaming, and don't mind spending like an hour or more like every time you play, while also having a high tolerance for software setup and troubleshooting, then I've linked my Cat VR discount code in the description. But if you want to know more about which VR fitness games can help you lose weight without the need of a VR treadmill, then watch this video next.